here to take your question on tomorrow evening's game. If you'd like to put your hand up. Anybody?
What are your thoughts on the match, Jose?
On the?
What are your thoughts ahead of the game?
Real event is not happy with my words, but I have still to say that for me is a training session, a competitive training session, a training session that you try to win, but it's not the most important thing. We had two matches, if you want to call it, against MLS teams. Now it's time to raise the level, and now we get three of the best teams in Europe. I don't know the way they are going to face the game. I don't know if they want to win the tournament. I don't know if they want to win the derby. I don't know. I know what I want, and what I want is to give minutes to my players, to try to improve, to make mistakes, to repeat in training exercises to try to stop those mistakes, to make the new players, in spite of we have only two, but to make the new players try to understand the teammates and the teammates to understand them. So it's part of our preparation.
Jose, given what you just said then about the preparation, is it a bit surprising that you are actually playing Manchester City, because they are clearly a big domestic rival. They're in the same city as you. People will build the game up. So why?
I think it's nice. It's nice for US and for US fans. I think obviously is very good for Real Event. Real Event deserves everything from us because the conditions they provide for us, the level of organization they provide for us is absolutely phenomenal. So they deserve absolutely everything from us. I think commercially is very good for both clubs. And there is always a little bit of rivalry. There is always a little bit of an extra ingredient. But for me, is a friendly. I'm not going to jump to celebrate any goal. I'm not going to cry any goal we concede. It's preparation. For me, the European Super Cup is a match, and West Ham is a match. And after that, every match is a match. But of course, we feel a responsibility to Real Event. We feel a responsibility to the American people that loves soccer. We feel responsibility for Manchester United fans. And we couldn't play Manchester City last year in China because of bad conditions. In here, no excuses. The conditions are phenomenal. The organization is phenomenal. So let's play the game.
Jose, is it fair to say that your rivalry with Pep last season didn't quite live up to expectations? And would you prefer there to be, more needle between the two of you?
Was not surprise for me. Was a surprise for the people that was selling the rivalry. I keep saying the same. We worked together for 3 years. We shared a dressing room for 3 years. For 3 years we were laughing and smiling with victories and crying with defeats. For 3 years we defended the same club, and our relation was so good for these 3 years. After that he became Barcelona manager and I was Real Madrid manager in a very specific moment of both clubs, where one was the top club in Europe and the other one was a giant in trouble, and the fight become, in a country like Spain, become a fight of two clubs, because the distance to the others is a huge difference, and the competition was all about us. So it happened. When Pep came to England, I was absolutely sure that with the type of competition we have in England, I was sure that was not about United and City, Mourinho and Pep. I was sure of that. So I'm sorry if we disappointed you.
Jose, might you start Marcus Rashford and Lukaku together for the first time? And also, with regard to Marcus, has he got the potential ever to be a number 10 for you, with his pace and his ability?
I don't think Marcus is number 10. I don't think so. I think Marcus is a pure attacking player. He's not a player with that quality to play between the lines, to assist, to move, to create. I don't think Marcos is that. I think he's an attacking player, can play with two, can play with one, can play through the sides, can play everywhere. He has a good working rate too, in case of you demand from him a little bit more defensively. Can he play together with Lukaku? He can. He played together with Zlatan in the same team. He can play with Lukaku, no problem at all.
Yeah. Rodney Marsh, Sirius XM. On a personal note, Jose, with the Premier League coming season, how important is it to you to finish above Pep Guardiola?
It's not important at all.
You've got Romelu Lukaku. It looks as though Chelsea have got Morata. Is that the way you thought it would work out?
I'm not interested in what Manchester United, what Chelsea Football Club does, really. We needed a striker, yes or yes. We needed with Zlatan in his best conditions. We needed one to give cover, to give options. Him and Marcos was not enough, especially after Zlatan injury. And we got a big player, a player that I can compare with what he was a few years ago, because he worked with me a few months, like 4 or 5 years ago. His development was very, very good. So we think we have a player that is now a top player in Europe. Has to prove it at the highest level. There is always this point of you have to prove it at the highest level, and now he has to do it for Manchester United. He has to do it in Champions League matches. But I think he has amazing qualities. I think Chelsea was obvious that they were going to sign a striker, especially after the situation with the manager and Diego. Was clear that they were going to sign a striker. They did it with Alvaro, and Alvaro is a very good player for them.
Okay, last two questions, Rob and James.
You talked about bringing a few more players in, but the group that you've got with you here, are you hoping to keep that group together, or is there still a chance to make one or two of those to leave before the end of the transfer window?
The problem with us is that we have 4 players that they cannot play football now, not even training. So that it looks like our group is big, but it's not, because they can't even train, and the time for their recovering is really long. We look at Marcos, no chance before December, as an example. So our squad is not so big. Everybody knows, because I told it very objective. I would like 4 players. I asked for 4 players, and I'm ready to go from 4 to 3, because the market is difficult, because some clubs they think the market different than others. We are a club that is not ready to buy and buy and buy non-stop. We are not a club that is ready to pay what the clubs want us to pay. So I'm ready to go from 4 to 3, and with these 3 I just give a better balance to the team, to the squad, and give us better conditions to compete.
Just following up from that, the point you made, being a bit crazy and difficult. Does it surprise you when you see the sums that are involved? Certain players, in particular, Carl Walker at Manchester City, has spent almost 50 million on a fullback. Does that surprise you? Those inflated prices in the market, in the current market?
It doesn't surprise me, really. It doesn't surprise me because I keep saying there is big economical power in every club that allows the clubs to say no, or to say you pay what I want or you don't get it. I can imagine that Man City would like to pay 25 million for Kyle. I can imagine that, but I am sure that they knocked in Spurs' door and they told this is the price, and if you don't pay, you don't get. Then you have the option to pay, or you have the option to say no. So the market will be always what people ask and what people pays. And the strange thing is that now, you know, I'm used to pay or to see teams playing big amounts for big players, and now everybody's paying big amounts for good players, and there is a difference between good players and big players, and now the figures go really crazy also for normal players.
Okay, one last question from US media.
You talked about this game for preparation. How have you found the environment, the facilities here in the United States prepared for the upcoming season?
It's the best. The best. And I will try everything with my club to be back, because with all the respect, Asia is beautiful. Commercially, it's fantastic for the clubs, but the conditions to work are completely different. In here is about the facilities, is about the organization, and everything is perfect. So we are going to try. We are going to try to persuade the club and real event to bring us back again.
Okay, guys, thank you very much.